When did you start running? And was that like the sport that you did in high school? And then how did that transition to like, okay, I'm gonna go from a 5K to a 10K to a half marathon to a marathon? And when did marathons not become enough?
Nothing's ever enough. So I've been a runner essentially my whole life. Ever since I was in elementary school, I've loved running. I was always the fast kid in gym class. We had a yearly 1 mile race at our school, and I took it really seriously. I loved to win it. And I did cross country and track all growing up in high school. And so I've always been a runner. And, for a while I was pretty good, but then everybody else caught up to me and I wasn't the best anymore. But after that, I really started looking at running as a way to just explore the world and be outside in nature. Boulder's a beautiful place and there's trails everywhere. So I just loved being outside and moving my body and feeling stronger. And so, I did most of my runs and races back in my, teen days were 5Ks and 10Ks. And then I tried my first marathon when I was 18. I was an exchange student in Sweden and ran a marathon there because my older Swedish host brother was running the marathon and I wanted to be cool like Gustav. So I did the marathon, and my first ultra marathon was actually at Burning Man, because there's a 50K ultra marathon at Burning Man, and I was going in 2013, and I was like, I got to try this. It's only a few miles more than a marathon. And so I love the community of people and the runners out there. It's just so fun and supportive. And then from there, I read the book Born to Run, which is a very famous running book, which talks a lot about the barefoot running and all that stuff. And I went down to that actual canyon in Mexico where they put on that race, and I ran that race, and it was a 50 miler. And at that point, 50 miles seemed insane. Like 50, this is as far as I'll ever go. I don't even know if I can get to the finish line. That's nuts. And I did that race and it felt great. And I loved the vibe and the people. And again, it's just moving myself, just exploring. And then later that fall, I did my first 100-mile race in the deserts of Arizona. And that to me was like insane. And I did it, and it was cool. And, it sounds funny, but I love these really long races because you have so much time with yourself out there figuring out life. Like you have a long time to just think about life when you're out there and going through the highs and the lows of the pain of being out there and getting through it and eating and the heat or whatever it is. And getting to that finish line is just such an accomplishment.
So, okay, first marathon in Sweden.
Yeah.
I love how casual you are, but I just want to be like Gustav, like want to be cool. Casually going to run a marathon. So you were obviously running at that point, training and have.
Yeah, I ran, but to me at age 18, 26 miles was nuts. The furthest I'd ever raced was a 10K.
Oh,
a marathon is 4 10Ks. It's 42 kilometers. So, it was intimidating, but again, it was a cool way to explore the city that I was in, running around and like, wow. And there's all these people. I love the energy at running races.
I think running through a city is by far the best way to see it and to understand it and to get a different perspective. I used to travel a lot for work, and I would run through every city the first night I got there. And I think it was the greatest place and greatest way to learn the city itself. It's cool. I love that. And so then you go to Burning Man, which I would say like most people, the thought going to Burning Man is not like,
I'm going to go run.
Yeah, I'm going to run a 50K. My first
or you
time.
Think you're running,
we're still thinking about like what they're bringing with them. And so, that has to be by far probably one of the most interesting race cultures out there. Can you kind of explain to us a little bit what the culture is at Burning Man running a 50K?
I'll explain it, but I also have videos about it on my YouTube channel.
Oh, so there you go.
Anybody listening can go check it out. But it's nuts. So the race starts at 5 a.m. when it's still dark and people are outside partying like crazy. And for people who don't know what Burning Man is, there's 80,000 people in the deserts outside of Reno. It's called the Black Rock Desert. And it's this gigantic temporary 7-day city of art and culture and fun and craziness. And so the race starts at 5 a.m. and you run the perimeter of Burning Man. And the first lap, you're running like through dance floors and people are partying. And, you know, in the early days of this race, people are like, what are these people doing? Because we look like racers. We have numbers on and everybody's dressed up like they're running a race. And most people at Burning Man, even at Burning Man, think that this race is crazy, you know? And so you run through all these parties and people and just, you see crazy stuff. And then the sun rises across the desert. And it's a beautiful, crazy, wild experience.
I can only, I mean, it's one of my favorite races I've done is the South Beach Triathlon.
Cool.
And so my favorite thing would be like South Beach. The bars don't really close. So my dad and I would always get like a little Airbnb. Then we'd ride our bikes there and we're riding at like 4:45 in the morning and people are outside drinking, partying still. And they're having probably the same perspective as the people at Burning Man. Like, what are these people on bikes doing? Why are there like 40 of them, 50 at a time going down this road? Now I'm interested. I don't know if I could ever run 50 miles.
What's the 50K? You can do
50K. I don't know about that.
31 miles.
31. Okay. So yeah, let me get, I just signed up for my first half marathon and it got canceled. But I think I'm going to run it with my dad anyway. But yeah, dude, I'm super, that's interesting. So for running, it's a spiritual thing for you, right? Like it gets you moving, but when did you have that epitome? When did you understand running was not just for fitness to you?
It was probably in my college years or even earlier. Cause when I was young, I was really good and I was all about winning. Like that was what was important to me. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to go to the Olympics. And I was good, but I was never going to be the best by any means. And I had to really evaluate why I was out there running because it was no longer about being the first across the finish line. And it took some time to get there because once you're like a really competitive athlete, it's hard to just go participate just for fun and like go from being the best to just like having a good time out there. So it took a little while to transition to that. But when I did finally grasp the idea of it being just a time to be outside with myself, with nature and connecting with other humans, you know, it meant a lot more to me than just winning a race.
No, I can definitely understand exactly what you're saying there. Cause I still have trouble with that with pools. I swam in college and throughout my whole life. And so like my wife is always like, let's go to the community pool here. I'm like, I don't really like sitting at a pool, like, cause I feel weird. I don't feel right. Like, I don't just want to relax by a pool. I haven't found that feeling that you're looking for when you run, but I have
feeling you'll get there.
I have found it in running. I have found it with running now. I hated running, but now I do like the time alone. I like thought. I like looking around. Sometimes I listen to a lot of books when I run, but sometimes now I just run without headphones and have a good time. Look at nature.
I might have bullied you into it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You got me into it.
I might have bullied you into it, but I resonate with you, Ryan, quite a bit when you say like, oh, like middle school, we had the 1 mile competition. It's like, you want to be the fastest. Like I resonate with that all day. Cause I was like, I'm going to be the fastest kid ever. Then once you get to high school, whatever, it goes away. But that's like, you know, I find my solace in running now. But I also find that like, it's okay just to run like a jogging pace. Cause a lot of times I go out there and try to kill myself and it's like, you don't have to do that. Like you're not winning anything. All the Strava, King of the Mountains out here, like basically Olympic level. So I'm not going to do that anyways. So you have to just find that space where it's like, all right, I'm just doing it for me and I'm doing it for mind, body, spirit, and enjoying ourselves. But you know, there is that competitive edge and I know you have it because you keep running further and further distances and you keep pushing yourself. You're doing cycling, you're doing that. So yeah, that's awesome. I love to hear that.